Another WWE departure has been confirmed. Talent are speaking up over a recent major firing, and a former AEW star has rejoined the company. But first, be sure to subscribe with notifications turned on so you don't miss the latest pro wrestling news. And let's start with the latest on a potential upcoming WWE talent departure. As we covered in a recent list video, several wrestling contracts are set to come to an end in the year 2024, including names from both AEW and WWE. One superstar who is edging closer to the potential free agency is Drew McIntyre, who, despite finding himself in a prominent position on Monday Night Raw as of late, only has a deal until around WrestleMania season. We now have an update on the situation surrounding the Scottish psychopath via Fightful Select, who revealed that whilst Drew's deal was set to end before WrestleMania 40, and that Drew was operating on the possibility that he may have already worked his last Mania match, time has now been added to his contract that will see him make the show, and the report notes, Fightful Select has confirmed that McIntyre's deal now extends past WrestleMania and that some injury and inactivity time was added to the deal in order to get it there. Sources near McIntyre claimed that there have been conversations between the two sides, and it appears as if they want to get a deal done. However, they also claim that one isn't done in place and that nothing has changed on that front. Dave Meltzer would take to Wrestling Observer Radio last night to report what he knows about the Drew situation, revealing that as it stands, WWE are working with the belief that he will indeed stick around, and Dave would say, no, he has not signed a new deal, but he seems very happy so far with his new character and he's really excited about it. They're working with the idea that he's not going anywhere, but nothing is signed. I think the talk of him taking a lot of time off and everything like that, probably not, and he'll probably sign a new deal. Going back to the prior Fightful Select report, WWE sources claimed to the outlet that McIntyre was well respected in WWE both by talent and staff for his work, as well as his media and community event schedule, with all signs pointing towards a renewed deal in the coming weeks and months. And next up, we have more on an alleged cover-up in WWE. Following the passing of Ashley Massaro in May 2019, her lawyer would release a statement that alleged that she was the victim of a sexual assault during a WWE tour of Kuwait at the hands of someone representing himself as a United States Army doctor. The claim states that Ashley was paralyzed by this individual via an injection before the incident took place. It was then claimed that WWE higher-ups told Ashley to keep the story quiet as to not damage the company's relationship with the military. After the statement was made public, WWE would deny any knowledge of the situation despite claims that executives were made aware and that they had requested Ashley to keep the story quiet. The story would hit headlines once again last week when John Laurinaitis' lawyer would confirm that WWE executives were in fact made aware of the incident. In a brand new interview with the News Nation this week, Ashley's friend Cara Pipia would discuss the incident, revealing that Stephanie McMahon was another key WWE figure that was aware of the allegation, adding that Ashley was threatened by higher-ups not to speak up, and Cara would say, she spoke with Vince McMahon many times, had his daughter Stephanie take his place because she was a female, a woman, and to make Ashley comfortable. And they just played with her. They played with her because everything that Stephanie said made her feel comfortable, safe. As soon as they walked into the boardroom meeting, Ashley was on her own completely. And she was threatened, and there was no compassion. There was no sympathy. There was nothing. Right before she walked into that boardroom, she talked to the locker room doctor, who was aware of everything, was actually very sympathetic to her, but had no pull. He gave her the advice that he could, but that was it. In a heartbreaking part of the interview, Cara would say that the incident was 99% the reason that Ashley took her own life, before questioning why nobody supported her friend, and she would add, shame on you, how do you look at yourself? Obviously, Vince has got problems. Obviously, he's a sexual deviant. He needs help. He's not well. The problem is that people with that kind of sickness and that kind of mindset of power, why do they thrive for so long? Why doesn't anybody stand up? Why are there so many people in that company aware of what's going on to all these women? Women who keep committing suicide year after year after year, and nobody stands up and says anything. Nobody tries to protect these young women. Why? Because because it's not just Vince, it's the whole freaking company. And next up, an AEW star has been removed and re-added to the AEW roster. Last night, rumors would begin to swirl when Yuka Sakazaki was removed from the All Elite Wrestling website roster page, leading to speculation that she'd been released from the company. Yuka, who was present during the company's first ever pay-per-view, Double or Nothing 2019, has made sporadic appearances since, with her most recent AEW-related appearance coming in early 2023, where she competed for the ROH Women's Championship against Athena at Supercard of Honor in March before returning to Japan. Despite her long-time absence from both AEW and ROH screens, it seems that she may still in fact be signed to the promotion after she was re-added to the roster page shortly after social media rumors began to swirl, seemingly ending the speculation that she'd left the company. It's unclear when she'll continue wrestling for AEW in the future, with her revealing plans to graduate from Tokyo Joshi Pro Wrestling Academy last year, although her status remains unclear when it comes to working in the United States. And next, another WWE departure has been confirmed. Earlier this week, the release of WWE host Matt Camp would be confirmed by PW Insider, with him exiting the company after joining in 2019. Well, we can now add another name to this week's departures, once again as reported by PW Insider, with them revealing that longtime writer Jen Pepperman has now decided to leave the company, and the report notes, Jennifer Pepperman, who was a senior writer and producer for WWE, has departed the company, PWInsider.com has confirmed. We are told that Pepperman was not released but made the decision to leave the company. Pepperman had been with the company from April 2017 on, and before her tenure with WWE had worked as a producer and director for a number of soap operas, including One Life to Live and As the World Turns, among others. Pepperman has primarily worked on the creative for the SmackDown Women's division. And next up, the TNA roster are speaking up over a recent major firing. Former TNA president Scott D'Amore would recently be removed from his position by the company's parent company Anthem Sports and Entertainment, a decision that was initially labeled as mutual, although reports soon emerged revealing that this was very much a one-way decision on Anthem's part. The same reports would reveal how unhappy the TNA locker room was with the decision due to their close bond with D'Amore, feelings that have now led to a letter being sent from TNA talent to Anthem and their CEO, Leonard Asper. The letter is a heartfelt plea from the talent at TNA Wrestling addressing Len and Anthem, protesting the recent firing of former TNA president Scott D'Amore. The letter then stresses the importance of a wrestling person being in charge, this in contrast to Anthony Ciccione, who is the Anthem executive who replaced Scott, and the talent note, we feel strongly that a wrestling person needs to be intermediately involved at a high level to ensure that the amazing company we have all built and product we have provided to our fans continues to grow and flourish. It is our opinion that the best possible person for that role was, is, and will be Scott. The letter closes by calling for a resolution to their concerns with an open line of communication between talent and Anthem. A Fightful Select report would later be released that would add that whilst talent in TNA have spoken highly of new TNA president Anthony Ciccione as a person, there are concerns over his lack of experience connecting to wrestling. It's unclear what exactly this protest letter will lead to, whether it be the rehiring of D'Amore or perhaps another person taking on the role from within wrestling, although it's clear that the TNA roster is unhappy with the recent executive change. Next up, a former AEW star has rejoined the company. In December 2023, QT Marshall would confirm his exit from All Elite Wrestling, where he worked as both a vice president that helped with the television product while also working as a wrestler. 2 months on from the departure, and despite a statement from Marshall that declared he wanted to wrestle more and not just be viewed as a coach, it has now been confirmed by Fightful Select that QT has rejoined All Elite Wrestling in a non-wrestling capacity, and the report notes, Fightful has learned that QT Marshall is returning to All Elite Wrestling, but in a much different capacity. Sources indicated to Fightful that Marshall and AEW worked out their prior issues, and he'll be coming back in the VP role that he once held. However, he is not planned to return as an in-ring talent. In regard to in-ring work, the report adds that QT is free to wrestle for outside promotions apart from WWE, with him likely to continue his work on the independent scene. And before you go, make sure you check out every WWE and AEW contract that expires in 2024.